There are 5 questions almost every single woman has asked me before she starts her own moving box rental business. And honestly, I've heard them close to 150 times by now from women in huge, big cities, from women in super, super small, tiny towns, women who have never run a business before, and women who have never sold a single thing in their life. And here is what's wild, that it's almost the same 5 questions, no matter what. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll have the honest answers to these questions that are probably running through your mind right this second. So first of all, what is a moving box rental business? If you are new here and you're thinking, wait, what is she even talking about? Let's get into it. Okay, I'll explain it super quick because it's a lot simpler than what you're probably thinking. So basically, you're going to be renting out sturdy, reusable plastic moving bins. People in the moving industry, they call them totes, bins, crates, whatever you like, to people who are moving homes or offices. Maybe they're, transporting kids to and from college, that sort of thing. So instead of buying a pile of cardboard boxes, cardboard falls apart, it gets thrown out. Instead, your customer are going to be renting bins from you for a couple weeks. And so you simply drop them off at their house. They do all the packing and all the moving, and then you pick them up at the new house once they're all unpacked. So there's no real products to sell here. There's no inventory headaches. It's just a simple, repeatable rental business that you can run from your home. So let me tell you quickly who I am in case this is the first time you've seen me on YouTube. So my name is Carrie. I have been in the rental industry since 2007. And since 2021, I have coached about 150 women at this point, all across North America, so Canada and the US, to start their own moving box rental business. So when I tell you that these are questions that every woman asks, simply because I've personally answered them 150 times, like over and over and over. But here's the thing, long before I was coaching anybody, when I was just running everything solo, trying to make ends meet, I was the woman sitting exactly where you might be right now, full of questions, wondering if a rental business is really worth it. So when I decided to start my moving box rental business, I had already built one successful rental business before. In fact, at the time of this, I had already been running my first rental business for 14 years. But you know what? It didn't make it less scary. The big question in my head was, just because you're successful at this rental business, is it going to work again? Or am I about to waste my time and my money and my resources on another rental business that might not work out? And I had nobody to talk to, right? Nobody. There's no mentor there. There was no one I knew that was already in the business. I was totally winging it. Making these big decisions with really no idea what I was doing. I remember even sourcing out my first tote supplier. That's the company that will sell you these plastic bins. And I had no idea, are they even a reputable company? Are they gonna even show up? Are they gonna rip me off? I was totally gambling. And the whole time, the question, it just keeps circulating in my brain. Is this even needed in my community? Will people even want this? I don't know. How was I supposed to know that? What I did, guys, is I just followed my gut instinct and I literally jumped in. And then after jumping in and, hoping for the best, the calls, they started to come in and people were reaching out looking for exactly what I had to offer them. And before long, I had originally purchased 300 bins. Before long, about 10 months into the business, all of my bins were out at customers' homes, all of them. I was sold out. So if you are wondering, is this even going to work? I get it, because I asked the same question myself multiple times. I just didn't have anybody to give me these honest answers, and I am about to give them to you. So let's get into it. The first question that you're likely asking is, how much money can I actually make? Obviously, that's a biggie, right? It's almost the first thing that all women will ask me. How much money will I make doing this? And here's the honest answer. So most of my students start with somewhere between 100 and 300 bins just to get started. Typical rental might be somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks on average. Most of your packages will land somewhere between, $100 and $500 per order, something like that. Just depends on the market and all that. And here's what makes this business so stable. People move whether the economy is good or whether the economy is awful. Some of my students, they make a few $100s a month on the side. Others have grown it into thousands per month. It just depends on your market. It depends on how much you want to grow. Just recently, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday I was talking to a couple of my students who are currently in the program, and both were already getting interest before they had even launched. So one got invited onto a radio show, another one had realtors calling, asking, when are you going to be starting? And so, yeah, the demand shows up before you even feel ready. So the real reason to how much can I make is the potential is absolutely there. It just depends on you, right? Of course, I would love to say, oh, you are going to make $800 a week. I would love to just give you a number like that, but the truth is it's up to you. So comment below and tell me if you could replace part of your income with a business that you can run from home. What would that actually change for your life? What would that do to have an extra 500,000, 2,000 in the bank? Let me know. And I read all your comments, so please put them in, okay? Question number 2. Is there really enough demand in my town? That was one of my biggest fears as well. Is this even needed in my community? Do people even want this? And here's what I've learned after coaching 150 ladies all across the continent, is that people are always moving, big cities, mid-sized towns, smaller communities. The moving, it just never stops. It never slows down. And here's what people mostly don't recognize is that you don't need a massive city to make this work. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I live in a smaller town. Yeah, this won't work. No, what you need is a community where people are buying and selling homes, or renting, I guess, renting as well. And that's it. So, and before you invest a single dollar, I show you exactly how to do your own market research. And market research, what I mean by that is just a simple, practical way to check whether there is demand in your specific town before you commit. So you go in with eyes wide open, right? Not fingers crossed, eyes wide open. So for most women, the answer to, is there demand in my town? The answer is usually yes. And we figure that all out together before you have bought a single bin. Point number 3. Do I need to be techie? So this is a lot. I think this question people ask nervously. It's like they're almost embarrassed to ask it, right? Do I need to be techie? Well, the answer is no. And you don't need to be techie at all. And here's why. So when you join my program, what I do is I clone my website template for you. So that means I take my fully built website, I make a copy, and I give it to you. So about 80% of your website is already done for you. It's already set up, it's already automated. Your customers will reserve their packages online, they'll schedule their deliveries on your website, and they'll pay you on your website, all without you having to lift a finger. So your job is really the last 20%, your name, your logo, your pricing, your photos, descriptions of your products, things like that. So if you have a short attention span, it'll work nicely. Little micro steps. So that's kind of what you can expect in the program, so that your website will be totally set up. And because I walk you through every step of the way, you'll also receive full unlimited tech support the whole time as well while you're in my course. So I've had students tell me on day 1 that they were terrified of technology. And then they launched, because I didn't leave them alone. I didn't abandon them. I was with them every step of the way. Point number 4, what does it cost and how fast do you make it back, right? So a lot of women assume that this business must cost a fortune, and it simply does not. So here's the rough breakdown. You want to get your pen out or pencil out, I guess, or your thumbs out, and take some notes here, okay? Your biggest investment will likely be the bins. They run around, there's lots of prices. It depends on which supplier you go with, but there's one in particular that if you join my program, they offer all of my students a massive discount. So with that discount, it's around $12 US per bin. So, 100 bins, for instance, would be $1,200 US dollars, plus shipping, of course. Unless you live close enough to a warehouse, that would be awesome. Then you can just go pick them up yourself. Then there's the cost of the website. So we offer a $100 one-time setup fee. Like, come on, $100, set up your website. So you get your own domain name. It might be like $15, $20 a year or something like that for a domain. We host your website for free for the first year. So that's nice. That's a nice bonus. And then it's about $180 per year after that. So there's no storefront, there's no staff, there's no inventory beyond your bins, and you're running this from home. Like, how awesome is that? And with the packages running somewhere between $100 and $500 per order, you really don't need that many rentals to make a go of this. You start to recover your investment quite quickly. And the bins, that's another thing I need to mention. It's not like these will wear out after 5 rentals or anything. The suppliers that will give you the bins, they promise that they'll last up to 400 times, 400 rentals. Are you kidding me? So they are commercial grade. They're not the cheap ones you're going to go find at Walmart. Okay. These are commercial grade, a huge difference in quality. So they just keep going out, coming back, and we'll work through your specific numbers together in the program so that you know exactly what your investment is going to look like before you spend even $1 on your bins. Okay. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What has been your single biggest fear that's holding you back from starting a business on your own? Is it the startup cost? Is it like, can I even do this? Is it the demand in your area? Let me know in the comments, okay? I'd love to see that. So last point we're gonna make, number 5, is do I have to be good at social media? No. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, is this one of those businesses where I need to post every single day? Because I think these days anyways, women assume that in order to run a successful business that you have to constantly be putting yourself out there online. And that's just not true. There are marketing strategies in my program for both introverts and for extroverts. Which one are you, by the way? I'm kind of that, was it called ambivert? I think that's what's called. It's the one in between. Absolutely, that's where I am. So, throw me in a networking event, not so exciting, but I can talk. It's not like I'm super shy, but yeah. So I'm kind of right in the middle. But yeah, some of my most successful students, they barely touch Instagram, for instance, or maybe they're like, heck no, I'm not doing any dances on TikTok, right? So you get to choose whatever feels really comfortable to you. And the thing about the moving box business is that your customers are local. You're not going to be, delivering 3 provinces or 3 states over. You're going to be in your local community within like an hour from you or something. So they're right there. They're right in your community. And there are so many ways to reach them. And you have nothing, and it has nothing to do with going viral. Okay. You're not going to be going viral. So like Google and local Facebook groups and making connections with realtors or mortgage brokers, anyone really who is working within the moving industry, those are the people you'd make connections with. So in the program, I do teach you how to set all of that up step by step, really, so that you're not guessing here and you're not relying on one single channel. So it's important to have multiple ways for people to find you, not just one. You don't rely on one marketing source. But I'll tell you about that in the program, of course. So yeah, you build it once and it works for you on repeat. So no, you don't have to be a social media superstar. You just have to be willing to follow the steps. So let's recap these 5 questions that I get asked all the time. Number 1, how much can you make? And the potential is there. It just depends on you. Somewhere between 500 and 2,000 is very typical, but sky's the limit. If you just buy more bins, you can service more people. Question 2 is there demand in your town? And here's the thing, people are always moving, right? And we research your market before you commit to how many bins you're gonna buy. Number 3, do I need to be techie? Nope, you don't. 80% of the website is built for you with unlimited tech support. So I'll help you fill in the blanks from there. Question number 4 was, what does it cost and how quickly can I make it back? So, bins are about $12 US each. Website costs are super minimal and the payback timeline is real. And the last question we talked about was, do I need to be all over social media, Carrie? And no, you don't. There are strategies for introverts and extroverts that I teach, and your customers are local. So, those are the 5 honest answers to the 5 questions that almost every woman who has joined my program has asked me at one time or another. Okay, so here's your next step, guys. Good job for making it to the end of this video. You did great. So here are your next steps. If this lit something up inside of you, right? And you're like, okay, I am in, like, tell me more, Carrie, how does this work? And you want to see, is this a good fit for you? I have put together a free 3-part video series that will walk you through starting your own moving box rental business, and it's completely free. So I do have a link in the description below. You'll see a Canadian link and an American link down there. So just click on the one that, is your country, and you'll be at the right place. I'd also love to have you in my free women's only Facebook group. It is a very warm and supportive group of women all working towards the same goal, all building something of their own. You'll find the link for that in the description below as well. And if you got value from this video that I put together today, I'd love for you to do me a quick favor. Give me a like. What's the harm in giving me a like? Share this with a woman in your life that you think could really benefit from this. And make sure to comment below. Let me know of your interest. If there's any questions I didn't answer, just ask me below and I'd be reaching out to you as soon as I see it. Okay. But yeah, every single woman has started exactly where you might be right now, full of questions, especially those top 5 that I just listed. Everybody has doubts, everybody has fears. So today, I hope you leave with that quiet feeling that maybe there is something out there for you. Maybe this is your ticket. This is what you've been searching for, and I'm rooting for you. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next one.